Yes, it is true. There are rumors of yet another race swap by Disney in their latest live-action Tangled. This time set to maybe cast Avantika, who played Karen in Mean Girls, as Rapunzel herself. The first 10 reasons in this video will be direct counter-arguments to the stuff everyone is saying on the internet as to why she should not be brown. And the next 10 will be 10 additional reasons why Rapunzel can be Indian. I know what you're thinking. I can give you one reason right now why live-action Rapunzel is Indian. Corporate greed. Which actually, I agree. Disney lazily race swaps characters instead of giving them their own stories, cause they love their green. However, this, I believe, can actually be beneficial sometimes. But that's not why you clicked on this video. You want 20 reasons why an Indian Rapunzel in the live action would make sense. So without further ado, here it is. Watch until the end of the video if you want to know why I do support this decision though, despite knowing Disney's intentions. Here's the first argument, we've all heard it. Rapunzel is German, and her story is firmly rooted in European folklore. Here's the thing, while the Grimm brothers popularized the story of Rapunzel through their collection of fairy tales, the origins of the tale likely predate their version. Folk tales usually and often undergo adaptations and variation as they spread across cultures. Throughout history, there has been an extensive trade route connecting Europe to Asia, including, drumroll please, India. These trade routes facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultural influences between regions, leading to the transmission of stories, myths, and folklores. Merchants, travelers, and adventurers traversed these routes carrying tales from their homelands and encountering stories from other cultures. As stories traveled along trade routes, they often underwent adaptation and assimilation to suit the cultural preferences and beliefs of different regions. Elements of foreign tales. For example, if Rapunzel was a story that originated in India, all elements of this story and its foreignness would probably be incorporated into the local storytelling traditions, leading to the story being hardcore set in Germany. Indian folklore actually contains a lot of stories with themes and motifs similar to those found in Rapunzel. Later in this video, I will actually list out every single Indian thing about Rapunzel's story. Okay, so Rapunzel is a story that may have borrowed influences from Indian culture and may have even had its own versions developed in India. What does that have to do with anything? Because man, have you ever seen a brown Rapunzel? Depictions of Rapunzels in pictures and adaptations portray her with light skin, blonde hair, and European features, reinforcing that, dude, she's white. What I think, hear me out. Okay, visual representations of folk tales are influenced by cultural norms and artistic conventions, obviously prevalent at the time of creation. Even if we say that oh my god, this character is brown or whatever in the folk tale, in pictures, people usually portray the character however they want. That's why we're even having this conversation of, should we have a brown Rapunzel? Physical descriptions, however, in folk tales are often minimal or absent. People usually don't really describe oh, this person looked exactly like this. Even though we see a lot of that in the Grimm brothers, there's not a lot of there's not a lot of stuff to go off on, okay? Allowing for diverse interpretations of characters' appearances. Furthermore, diverse interpretations do exist. So much to the point where Rapunzel's story is like a freaking genre, you know? Okay, so before I go into my final point, which is my counter argument against people saying that we're trying to erase whiteness, let's go rapid fire reasons why Rapunzel can be Indian. I'm gonna try and squeeze in 15 reasons in 5 minutes. Let's set the timer right now and go. Number 1, symbolism of hair. In Indian culture, hair holds significant symbolism, often associated with strength, fertility, and spiritual power, echoing the significance of Rapunzel's long hair in the story. Rapunzel's hair, which undergoes transformation from a source of imprisonment to liberation, symbolizes themes of transformation found in Indian spirituality. Oh my god, I've wasted almost a minute. Okay. Tower imagery. Towers or tall structures are significant in Indian architecture, such as the towers of Hindu temples or forts, providing a cultural resonance with Rapunzel's tower. Themes of imprisonment, themes of captivity, and freedom are universal, but they are also prominent in Indian folklore and mythology. Parental authority. The themes of parental control and authority over children is explored in many Indian stories and is also low-key a stereotype akin to Rapunzel's mother confining her to the tower. Magical elements. Indian mythology is replete with magical elements such as curses, spells, and enchanted beings paralleling the supernatural elements in Rapunzel. Spiritual symbolism. Indian folklore often integrates spiritual and metaphysical themes resonating with Rapunzel's tale. Animal companions. Rapunzel's interactions with animals find parallels in Indian folklore, where animals, especially reptiles, often play symbolic roles. Healing powers. Rapunzel's hair possesses healing powers in some versions of the tale, reminiscent of various healing traditions in Indian culture. Maternal figures. The role of maternal figures in shaping identity and destiny, a theme in Rapunzel's relationship with Mother Gothel, reflects similar dynamics in Indian stories. Oh my gosh, I am literally chilling because I'm only 2 minutes and 30 seconds in right now. But let's go. Feminine power. Rapunzel's story highlights themes of feminine power and agency, resonating with narratives of powerful women in Indian mythology and folklore. Number 11, rebellion against authority. Rapunzel's defiance of parental authority mirrors themes of rebellion and independence, anybody? Found in Indian narratives. Karma and destiny. Karma. Themes of karma and destiny prevalent in Indian philosophy find echoes in Rapunzel's story and eventual fate. Social isolation. Again, a theme found in Indian stories. Isolation and ostracism. I don't know, we're just emo, okay? Water symbolism. Water symbolism present in Rapunzel's story through the healing properties of her tears at the end of the movie is actually significant in Indian spiritual and mythological context. I am literally I am flying. I'm so good right now. Final mini argument. So this is I'm just gonna summarize everything, all of these arguments into one argument basically. Indian folklore and mythology is filled with stories featuring characters with long hair, symbolizing power, purity, and spiritual strength. In Hindu mythology, hair holds significant symbolic value, as well as a lot of other elements that we've seen in Rapunzel's story, often representing vitality, devotion, and divine grace. The story of Rapunzel, with its central motive being the protagonist's long and magical hair, serving as both a source of captivity and liberation, resonates with the entire Indian fictional universe. Okay, I have made it! Okay, woo! Okay, and now for the final claim. Why do you hate blondes? Are you trying to erase us? Get your own story, you bum! Rapunzel is portrayed as a white woman, which is consistent with the preservation and celebration of European cultural heritage and storytelling traditions. Okay, hey. I think society as a whole makes people develop a very us versus them mindset. So I can understand, honestly, how people fall into these lines of thinking, acknowledging the universality of folk stories like Rapunzel, however, does not diminish the importance of preserving European cultural heritage and storytelling traditions. Rather, I think that it enriches our understanding of the global resonance and adaptability of folklore across diverse cultural contexts. I think embracing diverse interpretation and representations of folk characters fosters cultural understanding and exchange while highlighting the shared human experience. You will always have the animated Tangled where she is blonde. No one is trying to take that away. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that we can be race blind as a society, because while it is all made up, this made up thing still has a lot of real life consequences. But I believe one way to progress and improve as a society is when you can break down these barriers between the races in this sort of way. Okay. So white people should be okay with any representation being taken away. Alright, why don't we make Jasmine white then? Isn't that breaking down a barrier? How would you like that? Okay, I think this argument comes from a very understandable place of viewing the world as being fair. What do I mean? As kids, we're all convinced that the world is a meritocracy. If you work hard, you will have a happy life, and anyone who is unhappy is that way due to their own fault. As you grow older, you might have had this worldview shattered a little bit, or you might still fully believe in it. If the world were a perfect place, no person of color would be replaced by a white person in a historic drama just because white people have more resources and they want people that look like them on screen. But that's not the world we live in. This hypothetical that you talk about has already happened a bunch of times. This is a list of white Disney princesses we have. This is a list of Indian Disney princesses. Yeah. There are none. Jasmine is Middle Eastern. The truth is that in this world we live in, white kids will always have a series of options of princesses to dress up as on Halloween, while brown kids will have one, which is honestly dressed kind of inappropriately. Well then, why don't brown people just make their own Disney? Are they not talented enough? White people have every right to make princesses that look like them. Alright, India and Africa, the two countries that you hear the most, have starving children, while once the richest countries in the world. Before colonization, production takes green, freedom takes green. And I'm not saying this to guilt anyone watching this. It isn't your fault your ancestors did horrible things, sure, and I'm sure you're not a bad person. But I am sure you agree that we have to talk about these things to put into context why a Disney princess would need to be made Indian if we have limited resources, and these resources, because of history, have been concentrated to a small subgroup of people. isn't it only fair that we share? And because that is the world we live in, we will always have all kinds of blonde representation, but barely any Indian representation, and if any, most reinforcing stereotypes that led to bullying, and later in life, harassment. And I know this is a hard topic to talk about, and no one likes feeling guilt. Lord knows they have enough problems in their life. But let me ask you one last question. When is the last time you saw an Indian character that didn't bring up being Indian every 2 seconds? I mean, ain't that annoying? And what impression does that leave on the kids? Oh, I can't be friends with that Indian kid. I don't know anything about being Indian. Maybe if they had talked, they would have been best friends. I know that's crazy cheesy, but that is an example based on what my 6-year-old niece in Dallas, Texas told me. When you feel guilt, you might think, why do I have to feel this way? Why do I have to pay for what some guy 100 years before I was born did? And I think this upset also comes from believing that the world is fair. But it isn't. My 6-year-old niece was getting bullied at school for her race. Pain is everywhere. And when you bring it up, don't shoot the messenger. I know it is painful to think that the world can cause so much distress. You would rather believe that people are stupid and frothing at the mouth for wokeness for no reason. That is only human. The fact is that the world is painful. And you can either close your eyes, blind to the pain of others so as to save yourself, or you can fight. Fight for others as you would want to be fought for. Stand up for others as you would want to be stood up for. Because the fact is, we are the people and we are the masses. If you are watching this video right now, you aren't controlling the world. You're one of us. You're like me. We are the people that don't bleed money. We work day in and day out for everything we have. We look out the window, we sit in the grass. How are we fighting each other? They don't want us to stand together, because then we will be powerful. Then we will be happy. They want us to think that we're all threats to each other, to fight and fight until we stare at the ceiling on our deathbeds, alone and unable to be understood. We need to have these conversations. We need to talk. Because, yeah, you are part of the masses, and maybe they prefer you now. They might even tell you that you're right, you're ideal, that you're what they want. Everyone should just be more like you. But you aren't a billionaire. And one day, they'll want to do something that involves infringing on your rights. One day, they'll come for you too. And that's when keeping everyone angry, divided, and not even wanting to listen to each other will come in handy for them. At that time, you damn well believe you want your people, the people, us people, to back you up. If you've watched it and made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. I'm actually so proud of this video, and I hope to constantly improve. Please do click the like button if you enjoyed the video in any capacity, and please do subscribe if you would like to see more content just like this. And please leave a comment down below on what you think about Disney race-swapping characters. Are you excited for an Indian Rapunzel? Do you still hate the idea? And why? Additionally, you can just talk about what Rapunzel meant to you in your childhood. I watched this movie on repeat growing up. Like, literally, it was one of those movies that we had the Blu-ray of so I would watch it like every day after coming back from school. This and The Princess and the Frog and Frozen. Wow. I wonder if they'll ever have a live action adaptation of Frozen. That definitely will cost them a lot of money. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please do click the like button, share with someone that you think might like it, and again, subscribe.